Hey, how's it going? Okay, so as you know, this is Square One Review Channel. My name's Alex, and this is just going to be a commentary. Not so much a review, because I think that we've reached a day and age to where we should at least respect a band for its release date. The new Opeth album, Heritage, is set to be released September 20th, 2011. So it hasn't come out yet. And so, for those of you who have heard it already, it's not only clear that either you've downloaded it illegally, or, I don't know, you must have some access that I don't know about, but as far as I'm concerned, the official release date of the new Opeth album is September 20th, so there's no way that you should actually be listening to it now. But I'm not gonna lie, I've checked it out. Now, I've checked out the uploads from people who have, I guess, downloaded it illegally, and I'm not sure if Opeth is doing anything about that. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Let's talk about Heritage. My commentary is simply this. This is my argument. This is a new Opeth album. This is an entirely new album. So, okay, let me backtrack. I recently got called a fanboy because I defended Opeth's position that Opeth has a new album out that sounds entirely different than in most of their catalog. I should say most of their catalog except for Damnation. It sounds damn close to like something that you would have heard off of Damnation. The difference being that it's intended to be an entirely new album and not just some sort of experimentation where it's a dual disc release or a double album release. It's Heritage. It's a new album. Now, the surprise, and I think that the premise of this entire argument and this commentary and why it's important, if you haven't heard of the new album, is that there is pretty much no metal in the new Opeth album. Opeth being a Swedish progressive death metal band that for their last 15 to 20 years have been playing death metal. I'm not bothered by this whatsoever. I'm going to look straight into the camera lens, into your eyes, and say that I'm not bothered by the fact that the new Opeth album is pretty much not metal at all. Why is it not metal? Is it not metal because I'm making a statement that it's actually technically not in the genre of metal? Or is it more metal because a metal band has decided to do something risque and step outside the boundaries of metal? No, it's not metal, and I'm not bothered by that. Because Opeth has been coming to this point for a long time. The last most metal album that I would say that Opeth released was Deliverance, pretty much. Because the Ghost Reveries and Watershed are not necessarily metal. They're progressive, and they're very, very progressive in the sense that, like, yes, there's brutal parts in it, and yes, like, it's got a satanic, if anything, black metal theme to it. So, you know, that argument is very subjective. But to me, they're more... It's leaning towards a progressive feel that has a very sophisticated and classy sense of musicianship than one that focuses on shock and one that focuses on cheapskate versions of how to impress people. And I don't even think they're trying to impress people. To me, all Opeth albums have been an expression, a branching out of the emotions that Michael Åkerfeldt has put into his music. It's got nothing to do with what you want. It's got nothing to do with what you wish it was. It's got nothing to do with making a replica of, you know, a Blackwater Park Part 2 or the Still Life Part 2 or a Deliverance Part 2. It's new every single time. And so I think it's very cheap. It's undermining. It's very ostentatious for a person to say, oh, this is Opeth, and they're not living up to what Opeth should be. Well, what should Opeth be? What should any band be but themselves and what they want and the artistic values that they put into their own music? So I don't really buy or appreciate when people say that a band has changed into this or that. Now, there's a difference between a band selling out and a band transforming or changing. I hate to do this, but Mudvayne is a case in point, who, in my opinion, sold out. They're not what they used to be, and the reason that they're not what they used to be is that because they're basically a bodysuit, to put in metaphorical terms, of what they used to be. So if they were a Colossus at one point in time, they're no longer that, and in fact, they're trying to be, which is what, in my opinion, is to be a sellout, because they've now signed to some sort of bigger label that has told them, pretend to be what you used to be, but do this instead. Opeth just basically, they spit against the wind. I mean, it's just like they don't really care, or Michael doesn't really care, because he doesn't care what you want. He doesn't care what the average metal listener wants, and in fact, from what I understand, he's completely repulsed by modern metal. I'm not. This is not my opinion. This is my subjective commentary on what Opeth is doing, but his actual opinion is another, and it's up to you whether you respect that or not. It's up to you whether you are a continued Opeth fan or not. Now, I myself as a musician respect him for his evolution as a musician and for evolving Opeth. But it's not up to us what Opeth does. It's not up to us where Opeth goes. It's just what it is. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. Don't buy it. Don't even, specifically, don't pirate it. If you like it, go buy the album. Not because these guys are rich or because they're well off or because they're living off of music, but because it's like the right thing to do, I guess, in my opinion. You know what I mean? To like actually pay for something that was like a lot of money was put into. Like they're gonna make their money off of touring. They're gonna make their money off of merchandise. Maybe. But just show a band some support by giving them numbers to work with and saying this many people have purchased the album. I think is the only way. Other than if you're not gonna buy the album and you're gonna pirate it, go to a concert. And if they don't come to your area, make the trip. And if you don't feel like making the trip to go to a concert of a band that you actually appreciate, buy the merchandise. And if you can't even do any of that, watch them on Vivo, because that gives them a little bit of money. And if you can't even give them any money because you don't feel that musicians deserve a cent of your ripping off piracy, then show them love on their websites by like going on there and at least commenting positively instead of being a troll and saying that their new shit sucks. Because if you don't think their new shit is good at all, even if like I don't even think it's good and I'm not even advocating for you to, don't be a faggot and don't troll. That's been my review, or commentary, should I say, of the new Opeth album in the sense of it not being released yet and the entire discussion and debate and argument of their direction change. Once the album is released, I'll probably give a more thorough and more objective opinion, objective opinion, that's not even possible, an objective review, and give you my subjective opinion on the album. But other than that, this is just fair game for every band and every person listening to music out there. Just don't be a dick. You know what I mean? If like a band changes direction, that's them, not you. Peace out. Alex, Square One Reviews.